Sam Reese is CEO of Vistage, the world's largest CEO coaching and peer advisory organization for small and medium-sized businesses. Over his 35-year career as a business leader, Sam has led large and mid-sized organizations and has advised CEOs and key executives of companies all over the world. And as always, Matt Doherty is with me, and Matt is a Vistage chair in the Charlotte market. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you very much, Jane. Sam, thank you for being on the show. For those of listening and watching that don't know what Vistage is, please explain to the audience what Vistage is and who are its members.
I'd love to. Thanks. And thanks for having me. Vistage is world's largest CEO coaching organization. For us, what we really do is we focus on small and mid-sized businesses. We really see those as the heroes of the world when it comes to creating jobs and building communities. We take a little bit different approach. When I say we're the world's largest CEO and coaching organization, what we do is we have this all focused on a peer advisory model. So we find great leaders like Matt, for example, to be the chairmen and chairwomen of these groups, bring a bunch of, call it 10 to 15 CEOs together. They meet on a regular basis, share in a confidential setting, help each other with their most difficult problems, all led by an experienced chairman or chairwoman who makes these conversations really impactful. And we think that's the best way leaders actually learn. I always joke by saying, even if Bill Gates was your coach and you got to spend every month with him, after about month 3 or 4, you'd go, didn't he say that last time? And did he forget my last name? So it's a really different model where we really help each other out.
How many members are there? It's an international organization. How many members do you have worldwide?
So 45,000 members in 35 countries. I'm just returning actually 2 nights ago from Copenhagen and London. We've got great business over there as well. So it's really incredible to see how the business has expanded and to see how this concept of CEO coaching and executive coaching with a peer advisory model, to see how that works and translates anywhere from the US to China to Australia to Copenhagen to Germany to Argentina. We have really a lot of success around the globe with these small and mid-sized leaders.
Yeah. How does somebody become a member?
Great question. Well, first of all, we have a terrific website that provides all sorts of information for leaders, even if they never become members, but that's a great place to connect with us. And then we have over the globe, 1,200 plus chairmen and chairwomen that run these groups. And so they're actively recruiting members that could fit their groups at all times. So they're the people that we have this is a very special group. As I say, they're almost, all former CEOs and key executives, great leaders that are building their own groups and really trying to create the right type of group DNA that they feel makes the most sense.
Yeah, with my background as a basketball coach, it fits right in because you recruit to your core values, you recruit to your culture, you recruit the type of person that you think can contribute and make the team better and add value. So it is an extension of being a college basketball coach. I just don't have to deal with the parents.
We have a few, don't we? We're really fortunate to have a few big time coaches like you. We got another chairwoman out on the West Coast who's just terrific. Was an NAIA all Hall of Fame coach. We got a few because it is a great background for that. Great leaders.
Yeah. The origin of Vistage. I love history and I love the origin. How did Vistage get started?
It's been 65 plus years. And so look back in 1957, there's a guy named Bob Nurse, great guy that was sort of a failed consultant. He tried all sorts of businesses, none of them worked. And then one day he just said, hey, I'm going to call all these people that I've tried to sell stuff to and just get them around the table for a meeting and see if maybe they could help each other because they seem to have the same issues. So it was sort of a home run. And eventually they started to pay him. He wasn't even sure he'd make any money from it. But I always like to tell the very first issue that was ever processed, because it really shows you how things haven't changed. 65 plus years ago, the first issue is one of the members says, they're not even members, and it's just a group of 7 people who says, my biggest problem is I can't find a good sales manager. Can anyone help me? One of the other members says, I have some really good advice, but you're not going to like it because I have the best sales manager in the world, and he was somebody that you fired. And the point was, maybe it's not the sales manager that's the problem. Maybe it's you as the leader that's the problem. And I know leaders like Matt often see it's the leaders they're working with that we end up being the problem. Sometimes we don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's terrific. Jane, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask about your personal journey. Like, what was your leadership like running organizations? What would you say differentiates a great CEO from kind of a mediocre CEO?
Well, I think I don't know if I've ever gotten to great. I'm saying I'm always improving, but when I think about it, I think about my journey from being a really bad CEO to hopefully being one that, continues to get better. But I think there's a lot of things that differentiate it. But I think it starts with, a belief that other people can help you do the job. It's not just a one man or one woman job, and you don't have some all powerful, all knowing knowledge where you can make all the decisions. You got to trust other people, and you got to have this environment of trust. It also, like what I find what separates the best CEOs too, is that you have a picture of where you want to go and a vision for that. And so all your decisions connect to that foundation, rather than new CEOs often just make decisions one at a time. And then they find a point where it's just irreconcilable. All their decisions don't add up and they got all these problems. So the best CEOs have that perspective, and you just see them. We see them every day. The best CEOs in the world are humble, they're vulnerable, they know that they aren't perfect, they know they make mistakes, and they believe in people. I know that may sound a little trite, but that's really the truth.
That you just described delegation, trusting, vision, which are all soft skills, right? And I like to say soft skills lead to hard cash. In a world today where they want to measure everything, right? How do you put a metric, or can you put a metric on the soft skills?
Great question. I think you got to perform. So when I look at it, I talk to boards about this all the time, as well as, I might do things a little bit differently. I might see some metrics I think are valuable, some that aren't valuable. At the end of the day, I want to be responsible for results. And that's what I think the best CEOs do. But what I see CEOs doing more right now for that metric is everybody's talking about, what does it take to retain the best people? So you can have a million things going on. If I can't keep the best people, all those metrics don't mean anything. Mm-hmm. There's one metric I would say that we all have to follow, is the ability to retain our top performers. That's what makes our businesses run.
Yeah, that's the key metric of soft skills.
Yeah. It is, and it's a hard one, right? It's a hard one but I think it's improved that we as leaders see that that's important now. Where we used to kind of think that people were more, we could fill in the boxes. If this person didn't work, we bring in another one. People don't think that anymore. The war for talent is too big.
That's right.
That's really interesting. And I do love the soft skills. That human connection is still so important. Even with all the data crunching and AI and everything we're going to have, it still makes a difference to, have a human connection with somebody. And there was something too about embracing the weeds. Explain that.
Yeah, it's one of the things I know sometimes people don't agree with me on this concept, but I find that leaders that think, when I ask what their role is, and they'll say things like, I'm just a professional leader, I don't need to understand the business. That doesn't work anymore. You have to understand the detail of the business. You have to. And I find that the old days where people thought they were portable, I'm great at this company, just hire me, I can go run the next company. You can't. You got to understand the business, not only to make great decisions, but have credibility with your people. And the best way you understand it, the shortcut, is to ask a lot of questions instead of think you have a lot of answers. Ask a lot of questions. But I think you really do have to embrace that. And that the hard part is that sometimes it takes you a little while to get up to speed as a CEO. When I've been the CEO here for 8 years, and I remember the first 6 months, my son called and said, "How's it going?" I said, "I'm still sort of an empty suit. I really don't have much to offer yet, but I'm getting close." Right? About after 6 months, I started to be able to understand it.
How valuable was that experience as an athlete, getting you through navigating the course of being a CEO at Miller Heiman, now at Vistage?
It's funny, like even just last night, as I thought about our conversation, I couldn't sleep because I went back to 1982. I can't help it, and just how it feels like yesterday when all that ended. And I think where it helped me is I just thought that life was over then. Like, there's no way. That's the only thing I wanted to do. So now what do I do in life? It's disappointing. And that's what I see now is I see obstacles differently, right? And I've learned that that thing I said to myself was just a story, just a story in my head that, once I can't be an Olympic runner, I'm nobody. Well, that's just a story. And so I find it just makes me much more measured on the decisions I make, much more open to listening to other people's perspective, and much more, even keel rather than up and down, right? You've got to get up, then you're down. So
Yep.
I try and keep it at that level. And I think it allows me to counsel people in the same way. When it seems like the world is ending, you're like, not yet. Like, there's still some good hope on the horizon.
How do you start your day? I know a lot of great leaders, work out, pray, journal. What does Sam Reese do?
Well, I'm boring, so I do the same thing every flipping morning. And just when I was an athlete, I did the same thing pretty much every morning and all day and all night. My sons that were athletes finally learned why I was so boring. But I do the same thing. I wake up in the morning, and mine's more about reading scripture, just trying to get close to the things that I know are important to me to make sure I make the best decisions in the day. And then my workouts are at night. I used to be able to work out in the morning. At 62, I now do it at night, but I have to get a workout in every single day as well. But it starts with getting grounded in some scripture.
I love it. That was awesome. Jane?
Well, thank you so much, Sam. And it's so interesting. Thank you for your insights into this. Matt, always great to be with you today.
Likewise.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me. It was really nice to spend time with you.